the Golden Mirage. The year was 1324. For the merchants in the bustling markets of Cairo, it began as a typical, sweltering Tuesday. But then, the horizon began to shimmer, not with the heat of the Sahara, but with a blinding, rhythmic glint of gold. A line of people appeared, stretching so far back into the desert that it seemed to touch the setting sun. This wasn't a caravan, it was a moving city. At its heart sat a man upon a throne of ebony and gold, carried by hundreds of men. This was Musa I, the Mansa of Mali, and he was about to change the world's economy by simply walking through it. The king of the hidden world. To the 14th century European mind, Africa was a void, a terra incognita, filled with monsters and scorched earth. But while Europe was grappling with the remnants of the Crusades and the early whispers of the Black Death, West Africa was experiencing a golden age. Literally. Musa became the ruler of the Mali Empire in 1312. He didn't come to power through a simple bloodline succession, but through a strange twist of fate. His predecessor, Abu Bakr II, was obsessed with the Atlantic Ocean. He believed the Great Sea had an end, and he took 2,000 ships to find it. He never returned. Musa, the deputy, was crowned king. Musa inherited an empire that sat on the world's largest deposits of gold and salt. In the medieval world, Mali was the central bank of the planet. If you held a gold coin in London, Venice, or Timbuktu, there was an 80% chance the metal had been pulled from a Malian mine. Yet, Musa was a devout Muslim, and the Hajj, the pilgrimage to Mecca, was his divine duty.
The logistics of legend. Imagine a military operation, but instead of weapons, the soldiers carry bars of solid gold. This was the Hajj of 1324. Historians estimate Musa's caravan consisted of 60,000 men, including soldiers, entertainers, and merchants. 12,000 slaves, each dressed in the finest Persian silk and carrying a 4-pound bar of gold. 80 camels, each carrying between 50 to 300 pounds of gold dust. A personal retinue of heralds dressed in silks and carrying gold-topped staffs. For the USA audience, imagine the entire population of a medium-sized American city, say, Charleston or Savannah, deciding to walk 4,000 miles across the harshest desert on Earth, bringing the entire U.S. gold reserve at Fort Knox with them on the backs of animals. The crossing of the Silent Sea. The Sahara is not a beach, it is a graveyard of wind and bone. To move 60,000 people across it required a level of logistical genius that rivals the Roman Empire. Musa's engineers preceded the main body, digging wells months in advance and setting up supply depots. Every Friday, wherever the caravan stopped, Musa ordered a mosque to be built. Some were simple mud brick structures, others were more permanent. He wasn't just traveling, he was colonizing the path with culture and religion. But the real shock occurred when the caravan reached the borders of Egypt. Musa was a king of kings, but in Cairo, he was entering the territory of another powerful ruler, the Mamluk Sultan, Al-Nasir Muhammad. The diplomacy of pride. The meeting between Musa and Al-Nasir is one of the great clashes of ego in history. Protocol dictated that Musa must kiss the ground before the Sultan. Musa, a man who ruled over 1 million square miles, refused. He claimed he only bowed before God. The tension in the court was thick enough to cut with a scimitar. For a moment, it looked like the most peaceful pilgrimage in history might end in a bloodbath. But Musa was as much a diplomat as he was a king. He donated a massive sum of gold to the Sultan's treasury. Suddenly, protocol didn't matter so much. The Sultan offered Musa a palace and treated him like a brother. The economic apocalypse. What happened next was the miracle of Cairo, which quickly turned into an economic nightmare. Musa was incredibly generous, perhaps too generous. He walked through the streets of Cairo, Alexandria, and Medina, throwing handfuls of gold dust to the poor. He bought every luxury, every silk, and every spice he saw. He overpaid for everything, simply because he could. But basic economics teaches us that when you flood a market with gold, the value of gold drops. By the time Musa left Egypt, he had single-handedly caused a massive inflation crisis. The value of gold in the Middle East plummeted. it stayed depressed for over 12 years. In modern terms, Mansa Musa devalued the currency of the entire Mediterranean. It is the only time in recorded history that one man controlled the price of gold across the known world through sheer personal spending. The intellectual gold. Musa's journey wasn't just about spending, it was about buying brains. On his way back, he realized that for Mali to be a global superpower, it needed more than gold, it needed knowledge. He recruited the greatest architects, jurists, and poets of the Islamic world. Among them was the famous Andalusian architect Abu Ishaq al-Sa'id. Musa offered him 200 kilograms of gold, roughly $15 million today, just to move to Mali and build. Their destination? A small trading post at the edge of the Niger River called Timbuktu. Under Musa's vision, Timbuktu transformed from a dusty village into the Oxford of Africa. He built the Jingareba Mosque and the University of Sankara. At its peak, the university housed 25,000 students and had one of the largest libraries in the world. In an era when most of Europe was illiterate, Timbuktu was producing books on astronomy, mathematics, medicine, and law. The map that changed the West. News of Musa's wealth eventually filtered up to Europe. In 1375, the Catalan Atlas, the most important map of the Middle Ages, was produced. In the center of Africa, the map depicted a black king sitting on a throne, holding a massive gold nugget. This image sparked the European imagination. It planted the seeds of the El Dorado myth, but located it in Africa. For centuries, explorers would risk their lives trying to find the city of gold that Musa had built. Legacy of the Lion. Mansa Musa died around 1337, but his shadow looms large. Today, economists have tried to calculate his net worth. Factoring in inflation and the sheer scale of his gold production, his wealth is estimated at $400 billion to $600 billion. To put that in perspective, he was wealthier than Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, and Bill Gates combined. But his true legacy wasn't the gold. It was the fact that he forced the world to look at Africa as a center of civilization, sophistication, and power. He proved that the desert wasn't a wall, but a bridge. Would you like me?